This is a battle report for Warhammer Epic 40K, Space Marines vs. Eldar. We played meeting engagement at 1500 points. This is going to be a part of a 3-part series. We're going to play Marines vs. Eldar using the Warhammer Epic 40K rules, Epic Armageddon, and Net Epic. And then we may go back and do another one using Space Marine 2. We are both old school Space Marine 2 players. I sold off all my stuff, but I acquired the Epic 40K box set and some other stuff recently, and wanted to try it out because I skipped this version back in '97 because I think we were all playing Necromunda or some such, and I had put in a few years of Space Marine 2 by that time. So was really looking forward to this game and put together some stuff. And meeting engagement is you set up your armies on opposite sides of the table, and you set up command stands. One command stand on the table, 15 centimeters apart. You put the next command stand for the next detachments all the way down in kind of a column form, and then you enter the table like that on your first turn. So there's no units on the table at the first turn. There's one flanking detachment that can be placed anywhere on your table edge, and we both picked our fast attack groups, his Vipers and bikes, and mine land speeders and bikes for our flanking detachments. The Eldar player, which is the indomitable Lord Lobo, and thanks a lot for putting up with me during this game and bringing out all your stuff from a decade ago. He had a one war host of infantry that was and a couple support weapons in there. That was one detachment. His HQ was an avatar, which you can see there, and a few detachments. I think they were a few units of fire dragons in there. He had a heavy grav tank squad, which are they're heavy vehicles, so they follow those rules for Titans and heavy vehicles, super heavy vehicles, where they have fire arcs and they take damage points, etc. He had one, as I mentioned, Viper squad with some bikes in there, and let's see, and he had one Phantom Titan. Obviously, we had one Titan apiece. It's about all you can afford at 1500 points. We had objectives across each other's deployment zones, pretty much evenly spaced. There's one rescue and 2 take and hold, and those just subtract morale points. So you play this scenario for 4 turns. Whoever has the highest morale points at the end of the game wins. We only got 3 turns in, and we called it because most of our time was taken up building out our detachments. I really recommend doing that before you play. Sit down to play. It is possible to just kind of throw stuff together, but Epic 40K has a very open system for building detachments. You have pretty much like an armor detachment and a infantry detachment, and there's 10 choices in each plus support, and you can pretty much put anything you want in detachments. And you'll see during the course of this report that some detachments were better than others. So this is what I was bringing. I had one huge tactical detachment in rhinos, no devastators or anything, just rhinos and 2 infantry stands apiece. It was basically like a Space Wolf Great Company that I had sitting around for the past almost a couple decades here. Then I had my armor group, which was 4 land raiders. One of them was the command stand, and 4 whirlwinds. Next one was 6 assault with 1 command in there with a psyker, and that they were going inside the Thunderhawk gunship, which you can see on the little platform there that comes with the game. We hadn't even punched out everything before we played. I got an unpunched version. A lot of stuff in that box, so it's worth quite a bit of cash if you're looking to get into Epic. It's worth it. I had 1 Warlord Titan. I was running 2 mega cannons, I think a D cannon, and I had a power fist on there. And then my fast attack was land speeders, 3 land speeders and a bunch of bikes, and one of the bikes is the command stand. It's terrible, none of it's painted, but some of it was actually straight off the sprue 5 minutes before the game. So So I got the first turn. You share turns a lot, but there is kind of a first player in each phase. Strategy ratings for Eldar and Marines are the same at 5, so it was a roll-off to see who would get more initiative counters in the little cup. And you draw those counters out to see who takes the turn during that phase. So as your counters are drawn, you have less chance of taking the first turn in the next phase. So it goes movement, then there's shooting, shooting with Titans, and then there's a rally phase at the end. Actually, assault phase, and then rally. So this is my first turn. I didn't put any special orders on. I probably should have put assault orders or march orders, and then those are those little special dice that come with it, because my fast attack actually didn't move very fast. But this was my first move. There wasn't any shooting in this entire turn, and this was the first move from the Eldar player. You can see his force here. There's one unit that's missing off to the left, and that's his fast attack. Came out on the left side of the board, and mine came out on the right. So he's got his Phantom there, and he's got all his stuff painted, which is great. And you'll see his Guardian and Warhost with the support weapons, and some Aspect Warriors, and I think there's some Wraith Guard in there as well. And then in the center, he's got his Grav Tank unit with some Wave Serpents, and I think those are Prisms in the back. So that's his first turn movement. We didn't have any shooting, no assault. Everything was out of range, so it's kind of just moving forward, which is typical for this scenario. Just a close-up of the Phantom, and it's pretty blurry, but there it is. So this is turn 2 after my shooting, and I believe before his shooting went off. He got the first turn on movement, which he didn't want to get, and he moved into those buildings on the left with his Warhost, and his Avatar was right behind there. He moved his other stuff up a bit, but he put his Grav Tank unit in Overwatch because it contained 2 flak units, and he was trying to take down my Thunderhawk. Now this is really an example of how if you mix a detachment with certain types of units, you sometimes can't get the most out of the rest of the unit. So he wanted his flak units to do something, but he had to stop everything and not move his armored column forward, and I think that kind of cost him, because I was able to move the Thunderhawk in close enough to what I wanted to get at, but far enough away to avoid the flak, which I think was 45 centimeters or something like that. So as you can see, I've got some blast markers laid on that building. I pretty much decimated that Guardian unit with the Titan. During his shooting phase, he had those 2 mega cannons, which are a blast radius, and they hit everything, I think on 2s or 3s, and they just blew everything away. So ignores cover, and that unit had a lot of blast markers on it. Up in the upper right, you can see the Grav Tank, heavy Grav Tanks up there have a couple blast markers on there, and that is from the Land Speeder unit, which I was able to move up and shoot at them with the multi-meltas. So here you can see his Titan he put on Overwatch, which you can't actually do. And we were confused about the Overwatch rules in Epic40K, but they just allow a reroll during shooting. They don't allow you to snap fire or anything. You can snap fire automatically if something moves within 15 centimeters. So this again is still turn 2. I dropped off my Assault Marines and had them on assault orders from the Thunderhawk. Thunderhawk took off and did those blast markers to the super heavy Grav Tanks, and actually I believe the Land Speeders took one out. They moved up pretty quick. I actually think it was illegal for them to shoot, because I think they were on march orders, or they had reduced firepower. Can't remember completely here. Okay, so this is turn 3, and as you can see up in the right, I swept back the the super heavy grav tanks with my assault unit. I took out one of them and did some damage to the other one, and that had to retreat, and then I followed up to try to take them out. So my assault marines have assault orders again, so they can get very far with those jump packs, and I can react to whatever's coming at them. If I wanted to attack either the Titan, which would be crazy, or the grav unit. The bikes are also trying to sit on that objective to get a couple points, and use their the multi-melters, because the firepower for that unit is actually not that bad for the type of unit they are and how fast they are. I moved out my armored unit and trying to get the whirlwinds in range, and the land speeders or land raiders to hit that Titan. I don't think I actually fired a shot at the Titan the entire game. You can see he's moved his avatar back across the battlefield, away from those buildings and out of range of my warlord, who still did a lot of damage to that other unit. So here you can see he swung his bikes around and they're on assault order. So this is right before my shooting phase on turn 3. The whirlwind, since they don't need line of sight, and also you can shoot in a 360 arc with anything that's not a super heavy vehicle like a Titan or the grav tanks, they took 4 blast markers. Each one did about 5 firepower and damage, and just completely wiped out that bike detachment. They just got too close and got wiped out. And then the unit in that building there, the warlord took care of them as well. So both those units went down to a man, which was great. But so I have my tactical detachment, which hadn't even entered the battlefield yet in terms of the fighting, because they were huddled behind the buildings. I just didn't know where I wanted to put them, so I kept them behind the buildings. It's pretty flexible how and where they can move, and moving them forward enough and putting them on assault orders, you can really get them in close if you need to, or if you want to move them forward and disgorge the Space Marines. The movement on the board is very fluid, so you know that you can get into a firefight to use half your firepower if you assault, and then if you're close enough, you'll still get in a firefight during the close combat phase if you're close enough, which can be great. So the Phantom moved up a little bit, and he kind of ignored the that bike unit, and he was getting ready to do something, and he was able to fire at my Titan and damage his power fist, which was great because he charged in the assault phase. So he was able to get his Phantom up in close combat with my Titan. It was great to see how this actually worked in this version of the game. It's pretty straightforward. Because I didn't have that power fist, it was even Steven in terms of the close combat, except I had a few damage points on, which does have an effect when you have a few damage points as a Titan. So that was a pretty fun, it was a roll-off basically, and he won and did some damage, couple criticals, and then did a lot of blast markers, as you'll see in the next shot. You'll see the Blood Bowl dice there. We were using those for our initiative, and I was green and he was black, so I had 3 and he had 2 in this little bowl. So a couple of my land raiders got destroyed, but my whirlwinds were still right there. I'm not sure what they were going to do against the Titan in close combat there, but so this is getting close to the end of turn 3. He moved his super heavy grav tank away from my assault marines who could still go after him, and then I laid with that bike unit, I laid quite a few blast markers on his grav tank unit, so their effective firepower was a lot worse. He was able to get the wave serpents to fire at my bike group, but didn't do a lot of damage. Took out a few bikes and laid some blast markers on there, but I think he rolled pretty poorly there. His avatar has assault order, so he's going to come in and hit the assault marines. So this is a after close combat shot of the 2 Titans. Lots of blast markers on I think it was 5, or I know that's 6 blast markers, and then that dice on the back is actually his remaining wound, so he took a lot of structural points of damage, and he would have gone down if we had taken the fourth turn of the game, which we kind of wrapped because it from what damage the rest of the Eldar force took, the Phantom Titan was pretty much the last thing standing because the Avatar got taken out, which I can show here. I broke with the Assault Marines, I assaulted, broke the detachment of Grav tanks. They had to run away. The Avatar assaulted the Assault Marines, and then he got beaten. And because he has Rampage as a special ability, if he has to flee, he's destroyed. So you can see the Fire Warriors are running away there with a couple blast markers. And then we started a firefight, multiple firefight with the Land Speeders and Biker unit against that heavy Grav tank and the Assault Marines. And then the Assault Marines got into another firefight with the Fire Warriors because they were within 15, which I think, yes, it's okay because it might not be okay. They might have been destroyed if they couldn't run away more than 15. So we might have messed the rules up there. So that's pretty much it. We called it at this point. The Phantom hadn't been totally untouched, so fourth turn would have been interesting, but we just ran out of time, mostly because we spent like a good hour or so building out the detachments. It's pretty easy to do, but it is kind of time consuming. If we didn't have experience with Space Marine 2, we would have been had taken a lot longer with that. Alright, so that was a battle report for Epic40K. I'm looking forward to doing Epic Armageddon next and possibly playing another game of Epic40K. I think the rules are, on paper, if you look at the rule systems and say which one is better, it's really obvious which one, as printed, is the better rule set. And I'd have to say Epic40K, on paper at least, is the best of the group of Epic. In play, though, and especially with people coming through the prism of Space Marine 2, it's difficult to say which one is going to be the most enjoyable to get your stuff on the table and throw a bunch of